Hi everybody, I'm Terry Schultz and I'm Legally Crafty, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Aledo, Texas. And tonight I just wanted to do a really quick video to show you a technique that I saw. Actually, Jennifer McQuire showed it on some of her videos, and I wanted to do this technique for Kylie's training blog hop. So this is the card, and the technique is called the spotlight technique. And it's called the spotlight technique because you just spotlight one image on your card front. So I think it's really pretty and a really cool technique, and this is a pretty simple card to make. So we're starting with a card base of terracotta tile, and that is our one of our in colors from last year. It was a new in color, so it's a 2019 to 2021 in color, and I'm going to just fold it in half. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, and so I'm just folding it in half like that. And that's our card base. So I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to use a piece of Whisper White cardstock that is 5.25 by 4. And I'm using the Stamparatus, and you'll see why in a minute. But I'm going to start with this. So the stamp set I'm using tonight is lost. Oh, here it is. This one, To a Wild Rose, which is a really pretty stamp set. It was it's carried over from last year's catalog, but it's a 3-step stamp set, and it's got just some really great sentiments. I like this blessed one. True friendship is one of God's greatest gifts. And then you can use some of these with the blessed sentiment. So I'm going to use the 3 stamps that are the rose and the blessed stamp, and then To Be Your Friend. So this is a photopolymer stamp set. So it's good to have a like a Stampin' Pierce mat, or my Stamparatus has a foam mat under it, just to make sure you get a good image. And I'm going to start by just stamping this image on this piece of Whisper White using black Memento ink. So, and I'm just going to kind of stamp it randomly around on this piece of paper. And I'm going over the edge a little bit, but I want to make sure I have one image that is pretty much a whole flower. So this time it's going to be more on the right side of my paper. And I guess I'm not going to worry about that middle part. That didn't stamp good. Maybe I will worry about it. Let's turn it over. Let's use this side. Let's start again. So I'm trying to go too fast. So I want to press it down to make sure I get a good image on there all the way. And you could use your Stamparatus for this part, but I'm moving the flower around. So I didn't want to use the Stamparatus. It was easier to use a just use a block for this part of it. So this will be my spotlighted image, and that's kind of why I did this again, because I wanted to make sure the spotlighted image had a full image on it. And then I'm just filling in these little spots here in the corners like this, just to make sure I get good images. So there you've got your page covered, and now I'm using this to help position. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product. I'm going to clean this stamp off so that it's clean, and I'm just using my simple chamois right here to clean off my stamp, and it's just wet with water, and you just rub your stamp on it and it just cleans it off very nicely. So now what I want to do to use my Stamparatus is I want to use my more solid image. I'll move that out of the way. I'm going to close that because I don't need the black for now. I'm going to put this behind me because it helps when you're inking your stamp to have something under your plate here so that it's more, so that it has a more even coverage. So that, and you don't have to get this exact. So I'm just going to lay this on here like that, and then I'm going to use my magnets to hold this down because this can tend to stick to, the photopolymer can stick to the paper, and then your paper moves. You don't want to get your magnets too close together because they're very strong, and they will break. They will knock against each other and break. So you don't want that to happen. So I'm going to move this over here since this is the one I put this on. So this is the more solid image, and I'm inking it up with terracotta tile, but I want this to be, I don't want it to be full strength. I want to take off a layer of this ink for this layer. So I'm just taking a piece of scrap paper and I'm just laying that on there, and I'm just, like I stamped on it, to stamp off once, and then I'm going to stamp this on my image, and I'm gonna make sure I get the ink on there good. But that's one good reason to use the Stamparatus, because when you don't get a good stamp on there, you're back exactly in the same place, and so you can get the coverage again. So now I'm going to take this image, this one, and this is more of a shading, I guess you'd say, part of the flower. And so I'm just going to fit that right on, and I'm using this little corner right here on each of them to match up with this corner. That's one way to kind of make these match up. So I am trying to match that up. So summer is here. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's here in Texas. It's getting pretty hot. And that is, see how it sticks to the paper, and you want to make sure you're in the same place so that you're stamping over it. So I'm not super fond of the heat. I don't know, it's not my favorite thing. So when we're gonna go on vacation in a few weeks, we're gonna go up north. My mother-in-law lives in Iowa, and so we're gonna go see her and my sisters-in-law. And see, I didn't get that really lined up really well, but I think it'll be okay. I'm just gonna go with it for this, put those far apart. And then I'm gonna take my chamois and clean these off. So that's another good thing about the chamois, is you can take it out of there and clean the stamps right on the Stamparatus if you were switching colors or something. So take these off so I can put this away. Just pile those up. And then you don't want to store this with both of your plates in, because they won't lay flat and you can break it. So I'm going to put that away. And then on a piece of scrap paper, I am stamping, I'm going to get my Stampin' Pierce mat. And this is still available. They thought they were going to retire it, but they decided, they being Stampin' Up, decided not to retire it because it's so popular. I just hit the phone with my head, so pardon me. So I'm just going to stamp the Blessed right there, and that looks pretty good. I'm going to clean that one off. I kind of like to clean as I go. And then I'm using the Tasteful Labels dies, and this goes with, I'm not sure what that goes with. I'll tell you though in just a second. So here's the new catalog, and it is really awesome. If you don't have one, let me know and I'll make sure you get one. But there are some really fabulous new stamp sets. I'm going to the punch and dies part, and this is the new die cutting machine, which is not available yet, but we should find out pretty soon when it will be available. So Tasteful Labels, it should tell me what it belongs with. I thought these were in alphabetical order. There they are. With the Tasteful Touches stamp set. So that is 124. So those labels go with this stamp set, and that is really pretty. I don't know if I got that stamp set. I don't know how I got the labels if I didn't get the stamp set, so I must have the stamp set. But anyway, we'll check that out later. So I'm using this one, and I'm going to just stick that down with a piece of purple tape just to make sure it doesn't move. And I'm going to cut that out. Okay, and that looks really beautiful. And can you see it has just a little, it has a little lining on there that is on the die. It's not stitched. It's a, like a, I don't know, just a line. So I think it's really pretty. So I'm going to put that away. And then I'm going to stamp the inside of the card. And I'll show you what I did. So I used the To Be Your Friend, stamped that up there, and then I just stamped a flower down there just in black and white. So I'm going to close this up. I have already had one disaster with this ink pad today. Keep getting ink on me. I was making a sympathy card for a friend who is whose husband unfortunately passed away last week, very suddenly, and it was done and it was beautiful, and I completely just messed it up with that ink pad because I had it open, so I had to remake it. So that wasn't fun. So there I stamped the To Be Your Friend, and then I'm going to use the outline stamp again, and I'm just stamping it down toward the bottom here just to have a flower on here. And then I wanted to put the leaves on it as well, so that they look like they're behind. I'm going to mask, and how I made this mask is I just stamped the rose on a Post-it note, and I just fussy cut it out so that I can stamp the leaves on here and overlap so they're behind the flower. And that is a really simple technique to kind of make layers on your card. See, doesn't that look great? And you can keep those and use them over and over. So now I'm just going to put this card together, and I'm going to use my liquid glue and put the inside the card like this. And I'm going to put and I'm putting this on here with liquid glue as well. I'm not popping it up, and I'm just gonna put it on. And you could it would look good, I think, with a black layer, just a thin black mat behind this as well, but I'm not gonna do that right now. And then I'm using this scalloped linen ribbon that is in terracotta tile, and I'm just going to cut that off right about there, and I'm just going to stick that down, and I'm just going to use now I'm using Fast Fuse on this, which is no longer a Stampin' Up! Product. We have new adhesives that are in the new catalog, and they are called Seal and Seal Plus. And Seal Plus is a strong adhesive like Fast Fuse. So if you're a Fast Fuse fan, I think you'll be a Seal Plus fan. I anticipate being a Seal Plus fan, but I'm not using it tonight because I don't have any. I have it in an order that will get here on Tuesday, so I'm making do. Now this sentiment I'm going to pop up just like this, and I like to use a lot of dimensionals just to make sure it's sturdy. I don't know, it's just the way I like to do it. But I fight with them getting those release papers off. So then I'm just gonna put that right over that, and there you have the card. Isn't that pretty with the spotlight technique? Even if it's not perfect on the flower, I still think it looks really pretty, and it's really easy technique to do. You could use any like outline stamp on here. You could use even ones with stems and a flower and just color in one of the flowers. So if you don't have this set, if you have a set with flowers or with something else that you wanted to do as a spotlight, you could use this technique. And I think it works well either way with the flower on either side. So I really like this card. I like the simplicity of it. It's easy to put together. And it's just a couple of colors. So that's my card for the blog hop. Look for it on my blog. And then you can go to the other blogs from there that are participating in the blog hop. So I hope you liked it, and thanks for joining me today and watching, and I hope you'll join me again. And I'll see you next time. Bye.